Here we go. This is Yugoslavia, or rather this was Yugoslavia. It was a communist country in the Balkans, made of 6 republics: Slovenia, Croatia, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Serbia, Montenegro, and Macedonia. These are the South Slavs. After World War I, some geniuses had a great idea to unite all these ethnic groups into one kingdom. This was because they had historically been stepped on by many bigger empires, like Austria-Hungary and the Ottomans. During World War II, the renamed Kingdom of Yugoslavia was invaded by the Germans, and a brave partisan leader named Josip Broz led them to victory. His nickname was Tito. He was a communist. He reshaped the Kingdom of Yugoslavia into the Socialist Federal Republic of Yugoslavia, with himself as dictator. Now, Tito was a unique type of dictator. He is often considered to be a much nicer guy than, say, Stalin or Kim Jong-un, and he kept Yugoslavia neutral throughout the Cold War, choosing good relations with East and West, despite falling out with the Soviets. Under Tito, everything was controlled and planned by the Communist Party, and the living standards were good when compared with other communist states. But one of Tito's most significant achievements was his ability to keep all the ethnic groups under one flag. They were not just Serbs, Croats, or Slovenes, they were Yugoslavs. In 1974, Tito changed how Yugoslavia was run. He wanted the republics to share power after his death, so he set up a rotating presidency. For example, a Macedonian would be president, then a Serb, then a Montenegrin, and so on. Each republic also got one vote on decisions. But even though there were 6 republics, there were 8 potential presidents and 8 votes. The extra 2 came from Serbia, which had 2 autonomous regions, Kosovo and Vojvodina. They could mostly govern themselves, but were still part of Serbia. Kosovo had a majority of ethnic Albanians, while Vojvodina was very ethnically diverse. Serbia wasn't happy because Kosovo and Vojvodina each had a voting president, giving them almost the same power as a full republic. Serbs saw this as unfair, since no other republic was split like this, and how these 2 regions could actually vote against Serb interests. Meanwhile, Tito had been borrowing a lot of money from the West. In 1980, Tito died, and this was the beginning of the end for Yugoslavia. The rotating presidency wasn't working so well, and the economy was slowing, with enormous debt. In Kosovo, the ethnic Albanians were demanding full republic status, since they were a major ethnic group who didn't have their own republic. But for Serbs, Kosovo is a very historically significant land, the heart of Serbia, and Serbs were also living inside Kosovo. They feared having to live under Albanian laws if it became its own republic. These tensions would continue to rise throughout the worsening economic situation. In 1982, the IMF gave Yugoslavia more massive loans with certain conditions. They had a say over how the Yugoslav economy should be run. The government had to stop controlling prices and cut spending, which led to inflation and the loss of many state-run jobs. This hit all republics hard, except for 2, Slovenia and Croatia, which had the best economies built on manufacturing and exports. By the late 80s, Croatia and Slovenia were expected to bear the brunt of the loan repayments and share with the entire country. The republics disagreed on how to continue. Do they run themselves, or do they centralize power again like it was under Tito? In 1987, Serbia got a new leader, Slobodan Milosevic. He wanted Yugoslavia to be more centralized, which would naturally mean that Serbia would have the upper hand since Yugoslav capital Belgrade was in Serbia. In 1988, Milosevic backs what is known as the anti-bureaucratic revolution. His close allies gained power in different areas. Remember how we said that there were 8 votes for 8 regions in Yugoslavia? Well, now Milosevic and his close Serbian friends are in power in Serbia, Kosovo, Vojvodina, and Montenegro, which means 4 votes to support Serbian interests. From the Serb point of view, Vojvodina and Kosovo were part of Serbia anyway, and why should they get voting power of their own? Milosevic pushes Serb nationalism and supports the Serb minority in Kosovo and outside of Serbia itself, since many Serbs lived in Croatia and Bosnia too. Albanians in Kosovo don't like having a Serb ruler and they protest, but Kosovo was brought completely under Serb control as a result. Milosevic tried to push these anti-bureaucratic reforms on Slovenia and Croatia as well, but they pushed back. Now it's 1990 and communism is collapsing across Eastern Europe. Yugoslavia is looking less legitimate, the economy is bad, ethnic tensions are high, and there are massive disagreements on how the country is to be run. Elections are held, and anti-communist nationalists come to power in Croatia, Slovenia, Bosnia, and Macedonia. In Croatia, about 12% of the population was ethnic Serbian. Many of these Serbs feared the nationalist path Croatia was going down. The last time Croatia was independent was World War II, when a fascist government called the Ustaše killed hundreds of thousands of Serbs. Many Serbs felt that the newly adopted Croatian flag was also very similar to the Ustaše flag. Milosevic knew Serbs had these fears, and he took advantage of them, saying it would be better if all Serbs were united anyway. In January 1991, at a big meeting of all the leaders, Milosevic insists on keeping power centralized in Belgrade. The leaders of Slovenia and Croatia are tired of what they see as Serb domination, and they get up and walk out. The Serbs in Croatia protest by forming their own autonomous territory, and Croatia reacts by sending in the army. The clash results in 1 Croat and 1 Serb being killed, marking a serious escalation. But then something strange happened. The Croatian army is forced to turn around by the Yugoslav Air Force. This makes it clear that the military is dominated by Serbs, and that Milosevic was taking the side of all ethnic Serbs. Serbs. When negotiations on how to reform the government fail again, Croatia and Slovenia vote on breaking away entirely and becoming independent on 25th of June 1991. And a very brief war between Slovenia and the Yugoslav army breaks out before Slovenia is let go completely, since it was almost exclusively inhabited by Slovenes. But Croatia was a different story, the Serb minority. Milosevic said that if republics would break away just like that, then Serbs living within them also had a right to do so. These Serbs in Croatia were backed by the Yugoslav army and declared their own independence, and the fighting was a lot more brutal, especially in places like Vukovar. In September 1991, Macedonia voted for independence and just quietly slipped out the door without anyone noticing, because Bosnia and Herzegovina was about to explode. You see, many Bosnians were Muslim, and about a third of the population of the republic were, you guessed it, Serbs. So when Bosnia was also considering a vote on independence, the Serbs in Bosnia declared Republika Srpska, which also wanted to join Serbia itself. Bosnia voted on independence in March 1992, and the Bosnian Serbs responded by laying siege to Sarajevo to retake control of the republic. The fighting between ethnic groups in Croatia and Bosnia was horrific, and war crimes were committed by all sides. The term ethnic cleansing originates from this war, the forced removal of populations, often involving violence. But by 1995, actual genocide was taking place in Srebrenica, in Bosnia, when 8,000 Muslim men and boys were murdered by Republika Srpska. Knock knock. It's NATO. NATO starts a bombing campaign against Serb targets in Bosnia, and in Croatia, most of the territory is retaken by the Croatian army. In Bosnia the same year, the Dayton Agreement achieves peace by decentralizing the country along ethnic lines. All of this was overseen by the United Nations. After the settling of these conflicts, Albanians in Kosovo wanted the same results, since they were still a part of Serbia and therefore still a part of Yugoslavia. In 1995, the Kosovo Liberation Army, or KLA, began their attacks on Yugoslav police and military positions in Kosovo, until in 1998 the Yugoslav military went in to finally root them out. The Yugoslav army were accused of ethnic cleansing in Kosovo. NATO demanded that Yugoslav forces withdraw from Kosovo, and when they refused, NATO offered some humanitarian help by bombing Serbia for 78 days straight until Milosevic finally agreed to withdraw. Unlike the 1995 bombing campaign, this one was not legal since it had no UN approval and more civilians were killed as a result. Eventually, the Serbs pulled their forces back. Kosovo was placed under UN protection. In 2006, Montenegro gained independence from Serbia, and in 2008, Kosovo declared independence, but remains part of Serbia. Many leaders from Republika Srpska were accused of war crimes and are now serving time. If there's one good thing we got out of these horrific conflicts, it's the flourishing of art and culture.